Okay, casting. First of all, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has rounded out its cast. And Adam, we were talking about this a little bit the other night, but we can open up speculation here on the show. So the most exciting news for me personally, that I actually started tearing up when I read it, was Al Pacino confirmed. Al Pacino is playing Leonardo DiCaprio's agent. His name is Marvin Schwartz. So it's I'm sure it's a fictional, just like that DiCaprio's character is fictional, but I would imagine. And then the other cast members include Luke Perry, because I've been waiting for that Luke Perry Tarantino collaboration.
Yes, we all
I think
have.
He's probably playing an actor in the western that they're making in the movie.
That would make sense.
Just like Michael Madsen, and I'm sure Kurt Russell's probably playing too. Damian Lewis from Billions and Homeland, he is playing Steve McQueen.
Wow.
Yeah. Dakota Fanning is playing Squeaky Fromm. So.
Wow, I love that. That's fantastic.
And Squeaky Fromm was not part of the murders that we associate with Manson, but she was a definite fixture, the main girl really, in Manson's clan, and she later tried to assassinate President Ford, and she's free now. They caught up with her a year or two ago, but she's actually still kind of a loyalist to Manson. She's one that never turned, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
James Marsden. Here. Before I get to that, Emil Hirsch is playing Jay Sebring.
Okay.
There's two cast members. The parts they're playing have not been announced, and I'm sure that is deliberate. Timothy Olyphant and James Marsden. So I've been mulling this over in my mind. What could they be playing? Is Timothy Olyphant, he's a good actor, but too old for Manson? Too tall for Manson? I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't even know if Manson's part of it. Personally, I think it would be smart not to have Manson part of it. But then Marsden, and I'm thinking, I don't know, would he be Tex Watson?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yes.
Or might he be a Vincent Bugliosi? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're saying that not knowing what characters are in the movie outside of what's already been announced.
Of course.
Well, the piece of casting that I was most intrigued by was the casting of Nicholas Hammond as Sam Wanamaker, the director.
Oh.
Which Nicholas Hammond, in case people listening do not know who that is or don't remember, this is one of those Tarantino-esque pieces of casting that he does, stunt casting, I guess, that he does every so often. This is the guy that played Spider-Man, Peter Parker and Spider-Man in the 1970s television series, the live-action series of the Amazing Spider-Man. So I when I saw Nicholas Hammond in the cast, I said, well, who else would do that but Quentin Tarantino? So there you go.
It's just...
and by the way, and that's the actor that's playing Wanamaker.
Yeah.
In terms of actually Wanamaker, and maybe an audience member can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he has any connection whatsoever to Tate or Polanski or, nothing obvious pops to mind. But that's a real-life Hollywood figure that he's incorporating in this story. That I'll be curious to see why.
Of course, he was a director at the time, right? I mean, he was a director and interesting.
Well, maybe he's directing the pilot, the failed pilot that the two actors are in or something. Who knows?
Yeah. Because he was a TV director as well as a movie director.
Yes,
so.
That's what I'm thinking. So who knows? But interesting.
Here's the other thing. I don't remember if I said this on the show the other week, but there's a house down the street from Cielo Drive that the owner claims is haunted, and actually the paranormal investigators have gone in that house, and including the guy that studied the entity house, and the guy says, look, I debunk 99% of these cases that I see because I'm a skeptic that this house, just like the Entity House, has a spirit in it that's very oppressive and visceral. But anyway, this guy, he's a colorful guy. His name's David Oman. He was outside a couple weeks ago, and Tarantino and his crew were combing the street of Cielo Drive. And so he had a conversation with Tarantino for a little bit. They're not going to be able to shoot. They might be able to shoot on Cielo Drive and kind of green screen the area where the Tate House used to be with the gate and everything. But they'll have to recreate the Tate House. So my question is, this is the main point of contention about this movie and why a lot of people that are detractors of it think that it's in bad taste. Will they reproduce the murders? I tend to think maybe not, but it would be unusual for a Tarantino movie not to include violence. And this is one of the most violent incidents in 20th century pop culture. So I don't know what to expect there either, of course.
Could go either way, obviously. You know, he could choose to surprise us and not go there. But if so, it would be the first Tarantino movie without a cascade of blood in it in quite some time.
Yeah, with some restraint. Yeah.
Yes. And I am not ready to expect that. So, you know, not with this. I would assume they'll reproduce the murders. I would think a lot of people, viewers might. I don't know. Some of them, a lot of them might be grateful if they don't. But
yeah.
I might you know, be one of them. Maybe. But I think it's too great of a you know, it's too great of an opportunity not to do it, I guess. And you know, it's never been done before. You know, I mean, we all know about Helter Skelter, but we don't see it.
It hasn't been done well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, did they try and do it in the second version of Helter Skelter with Jeremy, what's his name?
I mean, they even did it in the American Horror Story episode.
Okay.
Really badly, and apparently Manson was in his hospital bed watching it, and he was laughing.
Wow.
So,
yikes.
Yeah, it's creepy, isn't it?
It is very creepy. Yeah.
I don't know. But then again, the neighbors were saying that they were hearing screams and they had no idea where it was coming from. So maybe that's how they'll portray that the killings were happening. Maybe since DiCaprio was so strategically positioned as a next-door neighbor, maybe that's how they'll portray that the murders are occurring. Maybe he overhears them or something. I don't know. But I'm just looking forward to seeing a replication of the Tate House. And I hope they do it. And with this budget, I'm sure they'll do it right. Because that was a beautiful house before they demolished it. So that'll give me the chill bumps just alone, just seeing the house.
It's just unquestionably the most anticipated movie there is. They're just, you know, I mean, and it will continue to be that way for the next year and a half or so, or whenever when's it supposed to arrive again? Next March?
August 9th.
August 9th.
Yeah.
August 9th. Okay,
50th anniversary of the murders.
Yes.
You know, it's also a huge cast of white guys. I mean, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, you know, there's not much diversity in the cast, but if that's the palette he's working with, and that's from history, then that's what he has to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
What's the bets on the length of this movie? That's what we were talking about, too.
3 hours.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe 4. Maybe even divided into 2 halves. Who knows? But
it could,
like
it could go that
Bill.
way. He's done that before. But
it could be a Kill Bill thing. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
It could go that way. I could easily see that happening.
It sounds like a lot of story to tell to me from what I'm hearing. So, and that's great. If there's enough story to warrant a 4-hour movie, I'm all there. Trust me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No.
Yeah, and he might be cheating. He might be like, yeah, I've only got 2 movies left, and yet he makes those 2 movies 4 movies.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah, there you go.
Could be. It would be a difficult. You know, I mean, I remember as a teenager reading Helter Skelter, and of course I would go through it, and back then, of course, I wanted De Niro to play Manson, because there was a strong resemblance there, and I sort of fantasy cast the movie and everything, and it just feels like that's what's happening with this particular film, is that that Tarantino is doing this. So I would love to talk to Tarantino and know about his relationship to the book and to the case and so forth throughout his life. You know what I mean? Like his interest in it or whatever. It'd be fascinating.
Earlier last year, I contacted the Stephen Parent, who was the first victim. His prom date. They went to prom just about 2 months before he was killed. And nobody had spoken to her or reached out to her before. And she never got back to me about an interview, so I'm not going to push it. But we corresponded back and forth for about a year. And the first thing that she said to me was, "You're not going on that Helter Skelter book, are you? Because that book's complete bullshit." And I said, "Well, no, I'm going on whatever you have to offer me, because you were actually there." So I don't know what parts of the book she had a problem with, but I know a lot of people have problems with some of that book. But it is, even if you look at it as something that is not 100% accurate, it is one of the great crime books.
It is.
True crime books.
Definitely.
And I know, yeah. But here's another thing. Years ago, they did, this was funny too, they did one of those Hollywood Reporter roundtables. It's either that or Variety that they do every award season. And so this is Clooney and Plummer and a couple other people, but Gary Oldman and Nick Nolte are on the panel too. And they ask about roles you turned down. And Gary Oldman was like, years ago they offered me the part of Manson. And I just said, I don't know if I want to be in that place for that long a time. And then you hear Nick Nolte like growling from across the room. He's like, no. Hey, you don't want to play Chuck. I do Chuck. You don't want to live in that for that long. And it was just a great kind of moment.
Oh, great!
Of course,
it's like
you Chuck.
It's like that scene from Tropic Thunder. Just him piping up from back in the room, just sort of scaring the shit out of everybody. Oh man, that's great.